Welcome back. It's the first episode of the Red Zone, and we already have so much to get to. The Cardinal football team stops by after a big win against Robert Morris University. The women's triathlon team competes in its first ever race right here in Naperville, and we get a visit from Sports Information Director Clark Tuscher to catch up on cross country, soccer, and more. I'm Kevin Jackman, and this is the Red Zone.
Presenting sponsor of the Red Zone is Athletico, the preferred provider of physical therapy and athletic training for North Central College.
Against a team featuring scholarship players, the Cardinal football team knew it had a tough task in a clash against the Eagles from Robert Morris. Let's check out the highlights from the season opener.
Here we go. First drive, third play of the drive, and Rudder finds Ulmer. Ulmer makes a nice move to the inside. And Ulmer finds Pater. 50-yard strike gets the Cardinals off to a fast start. Robert Morris driving inside the 20, but on third down, the Cardinals get a stop. Or do they? Nope, roughing the passer. That'll keep the drive alive for Kenyatte Allen and company. 2 plays later, Barrington Thomas punches it in. Ball game all tied up just 4 minutes in. But just like that first drive, Rudder finding a wide open Ulmer right down the middle. 45-yard gain takes him deep into Eagle territory. Rudder takes the snap, bootlegs right, and gets his big guy in the corner. 14-7 Cards lead. Cool, also an equal grad, so this isn't the first time the duo has hooked up for a touchdown. Now just past midfield, Rudder back to the aerial attack, and it's Michael LeBlanc, a freshman from Dixon, with the catch and long scamper. How about that for his first catch as a Cardinal? North Central now leads 21-7. So now Allen and the Eagles have some work to do. The quarterback getting pressure in his face from Hunter LeDuc, but somehow stays on his feet. He avoids the pass rush and puts it downfield. Complete. And now it's Tristan Jeffrey's turn to make some moves. He shimmies his way all the way inside the 15-yard line. 2 plays later, and whoops, he forgot the ball. Amante Logan will gladly take it. Turnover inside the red zone. Turnover is a real problem for RMU. Allen trying to step up in the pocket, but DJ Workenthine there, but still, Allen stays alive. Penalty markers fly, Allen flings it downfield, but Jeremy Niklos comes flying out of nowhere for the diving interception. The penalty on the Eagles declined by NCC. Second turnover of the game. Next drive for RMU, and oh boy, DeJour Forrest coughs the ball up. Third straight possession ending with a turnover. Cardinal safety Kevin Nalewski coming out of the dog pile with the pigskin. Eagles driving all the way downfield. 14 seconds left in the half. A chance to pull within a score. And Allen goes to the back corner fade. Niklos again. What a day, and it's only at the half. Post-intermission now. Cardinals driving in. How the Eagles forgot to cover this guy, who knows? Rudder finds Brunig in the flat, and he is off to the races. North Central, 28-7 lead. But here comes RMU. Allen with time to throw in a clean pocket. Right down the seam, Michael Berry hauls it in. Lead cut to 28-14. To the fourth, same score. Eagles back in the red zone, and Allen again with all day to throw goes to the back of the end zone. Montre Lee is there. Just a single score game. Offense can't score again, so here comes the Eagles again. But remember that incredible first half Niklos had? Well, how about this pass breakup and right into the arms of Pat Cravens? The Cardinal convoy finds the promised land, and North Central seals the deal. A 35-21 win on opening night.
He's in his second season at the helm of the football team and the proud owner. A 1-0 record to start the season. Head coach Jeff Thorne joins me on set. And coach, we want to dive into this Robert Morris game in a little bit more depth later on, but I want to get your main takeaway from that game. Just as you see it as a whole, what did you come away thinking?
I was thrilled. Really, there's really no other way to put it. That's a really good football team that we played Saturday night. Our guys really played with a lot of heart, a lot of emotion. Their contact level was high. The things that we discussed in the offseason showed up on Saturday. Things we were working on, resiliency. Things started to go against us there late. and we had that dreaded 28-7 lead that we've struggled with in the last few years. And our defense was tremendous. Jeremy, you'll talk to him here in a couple minutes, was absolutely phenomenal. And we made a play. Jeremy made a play. Pat Cravens cleaned it up and put the game away. So many things to be really excited about, although you go to the film and you see all the mistakes that you made too. So there's by no means are we content, but very happy with the way our guys played and the win.
Preparation-wise, I know you as a coaching staff are very meticulous in the way that you prepare for your opponents, but was it difficult to prepare for a school like Robert Morris? They're NAIA. You haven't faced them, and the program is only 4 years old. Well,
they're more than 4 years old. I think they're in their 5th or 6th year now. But very difficult to prepare because we had extremely limited film, and that's always difficult when you don't know your opponent as well as you'd like.
Yeah.
There's a level of discomfort going into the game because of those unknowns. But they were facing the same thing. They didn't have a ton of film on us either, so it was an even playing field.
Now I want to go to that fourth quarter. You mentioned that you guys were backed up adversity-wise. You had them coming back, but then, like you said, Jeremy made that big play.
Yeah.
Pat Cravens brought it in. When that happened, did you suddenly think, we've kind of exercised those demons of letting things slip in the fourth quarter in years past?
I don't know if I'd say exercise demons. It was good to win that game in the way that we did and not give another lead away. We still have a lot of work to do. We got to figure out why that continues to happen. And offensively, we just could not get our running game going, and we weren't grinding out first downs, and that makes it really tough on your defense.
Yeah.
They played absolutely fantastic football. We kept putting them back on the field, and they defended 84 plays, and we only ran 60 plays. You can imagine how difficult that is for a defense. So there's still much work to do before I feel real comfortable like, hey, we've put that behind us.
The secondary stepped up huge. It wasn't just Jeremy with the 2 interceptions or Pat with the touchdown, but Kevin Nalewski was sticking his nose in there as well, came away with the fumble. When you were looking back at that game and you saw what the secondary did, were you impressed with their effort?
Oh, yeah. We talked before the game about effort, execution, and playmaking. And without a doubt, our effort was where we wanted it to be. And I don't remember a game where we made more plays.
Yeah.
You know, different guys stepped up. Alex, you'll talk to Alex here in a few minutes too, on offense was tremendous. But Jeremy just over and over. Pat Cravens, you mentioned Kevin. You know, Kevin's 155, 160 pounds. And he thinks when he looks in the mirror that he's 210. That's how he plays. You know, he's fearless, and he plays fast and physical. So it was really fun watching our secondary play. Brandon Kibbe made a bunch of plays again too. So we're excited, really excited about, you know, where we can go with this team.
Now I want to talk about the offensive end because Brock Rudder comes in. He's a transfer from Indiana State. He's a local kid, went to Neuqua Valley. He steps in and 4 touchdowns right off the bat. He was making some big plays, especially in the first half. How did you evaluate his play?
He was great. You know, certainly, again, I go back, you look at the film, there's always things you can get better at, and there's things we can work on with Brock, but he's a competitor. He's a football player. You know, the guy before the game, he's a quarterback, and he's asking guys for smelling salt, you know, asking our coaches. So the kind of the mentality that he has, it brings a lot to our team. Infectious personality, and just a guy that cares about his teammates and other people. So there's a lot to build on with Brock.
Alex Ulmer, you mentioned him. Big first half, big game. He was just everywhere. 8 catches, 164 yards, a score. He's one of the senior leaders on that offense. Is he one of those guys that you look to for leadership and for production?
Without a doubt. Alex is a gamer in every sense of the word. You just, when a play needs to be made, he's just always shows up. He's done it his entire career, and we expect the same kind of performances from him week in and week out. It's just the level, the standard that he set for himself, and therefore that's what the expectation is.
Freshman contributions were across the board. You had Michael LeBlanc scoring that touchdown pass. You got some guys on the defensive side of the ball. Your punter's a freshman. So you had to be pretty encouraged by the fact that these guys are contributing week 1.
Yeah, we feel really good about this year's recruiting class. Zane, our punter, is actually a sophomore academically. He has a medical red shirt. He hurt his knee last year. Josh Leanhart started at defensive end for us. Andrew Cray played a whole lot in the first, I think he had 35 snaps as a defensive tackle. Certainly Brock, again, a guy that is a year removed from high school, but nonetheless a freshman eligibility-wise. So we're very excited about this class. Kyle LeBlanc is going to be a great player, and we have some other receivers in the class that we feel good about as well as offensive linemen. Just every position group, we're excited about what they're going to do this year. I mean, as the season wears on, you watch them in JV games. I think we'll have a handful more that will end up helping us with the varsity.
Awesome. We got some more to get to. We're going to take a quick break. When we come back, we'll peek inside the film room in the season's first Check the Tape. You're watching the Red Zone. Welcome back to the Red Zone, and now it's time to get an inside look at what the coaches see. In this week's first Check the Tape.
This Red Zone segment is sponsored by M&M Rentals.
Coach, the first play I want to get to is Jeremy Niklos. Not his first interception was spectacular, which he had made a diving grab.
Yeah.
Crazy. Second one, though, took a little bit more finesse. He had to whip his head around in the corner of the end zone, and I want to get your point of view on kind of the process in which a cornerback has to go through to make this kind of play.
Yeah, I think this is the most important play in the entire game. Defensive backs work on that all the time. Quarterbacks, receivers work on the back shoulder throw all the time. It's without a doubt the hardest play for a corner to defend. But as you watch that, you see Jeremy take the space away and get into the receiver's hips. So now he can feel, and he's reading his eyes, and he can feel when the receiver is starting to make a play on the ball, and he gets his head around. And one of the great things about Jeremy is he's long. He's 6'1", and that's important in this day and age where there's so many taller receivers. And he just that was an incredible play. It really changed the game. It would have been 21-14 going into halftime instead of 21-7. 14 seconds left in the half. What a way to go into the break from our standpoint with, complete momentum shift again.
Now, from the end of the first half to the very beginning of the game, I think this is the third offensive snap you guys had.
Yeah.
And Rudder finds Ulmer on I think it was like a deep out route or a curl. And that first move he makes probably decided whether he was going to be tackled or going the distance, and he made the right move.
Yeah, that actually was a vertical route that Alex was running. That play was designed to try to get the ball to Austin out of the backfield. They did a nice job of covering that, and Brock adjusted on the fly. And just what I was talking about with Jeremy a second ago, you teach a quarterback and a receiver to understand where the space is. The space there was back shoulder. Brock threw a back shoulder throw. Alex was on the same page, cut his route off, caught it, cut back inside, and touchdown on the third play of the game. And that's just two guys making a play, playmaking, what we talked about.
Now, the interceptions, the fumbles, those will get the most of the focus when you look at the box score after the game. But the grunt work is done up front by the defensive line and the linebackers. And I want to take a look at Tommy Sora because doesn't always get a lot of praise because he just makes tackles, just normal tackles. But here he is. He sheds a block right in front of the line of scrimmage and is able to wrap up the running back.
Yeah. Tommy had a great offseason. This is the best summer he's ever had. Came back to camp in the best shape of his life, running faster than he ever has. His body is firmed up. He's stronger. You couldn't have asked for anybody to do more than he did in the offseason, and it's paying off. He's moving quicker. He's leading. He's one of our captains. So I'm not at all surprised to see him do that. He really played well, and we need him, same way with Jeremy and Alex and the other guys to continue playing at that level over the course of the season for us to go where we really want to go.
Last thing for you. It's the home opener this Saturday, Weber International University. What are you guys preparing for? What kind of team is this going to be that you're going to be hosting at Benedetti Worley Stadium?
They're going to be very similar to what we just faced in Robert Morris. Another scholarship school, so we're going to see some really, really high-level athletes that can run, have some size to them. So we're going to have to play, an assignment sound game, use great technique, and do the things that we do well, and take away the things that we've seen on film that they like to do. So it's going to be a great challenge. We're excited about it, though.
I'm excited, too. It's going to be a lot of fun to see. The fans, I'm sure, are going to come out in droves. So good luck.
Thanks, Kevin.
We're looking forward to seeing what you guys can do.
All right.
We have some big-time players hopping on the couch next. We'll be right back on the Red Zone.
Headphones.
Music. I'm listening to music.
One likes to hit receivers hard, the other likes to go right by them. Thankfully, they're on the same team. And Alex Ulmer and Jeremy Niklos are on the set with us, and I want to start with Alex. Big win against Robert Morris. You had a big part of it on the offensive end. Offensively, what was your main takeaway from that game? What did you guys come away thinking about it?
Well, we just felt really positive about our confidence in Brock. Really stepped up. And also, we just have a lot of playmakers we have Austin Brunick, the best back in the whole nation. We got a great receiving core, and our offensive line, when they come together, we can't be stopped. So it was really a confidence thing we came away with.
I think it might have been you and maybe some other people. You said it was almost like a chip on your shoulder that you were facing scholarship players, that it was kind of motivation for you guys. Stepping away from that, did you feel like that actually did boost you guys a little bit in that adrenaline push?
Yeah, I feel like sometimes those scholarship schools don't respect us as athletes because we don't get paid the way that they do. So when we were able to come away with a win, it just feels really good. It makes, like I said, our confidence really boosted as a program, but also as athletes.
Yeah. Jeremy, the secondary, I mean, huge game. You, 2 interceptions, a couple of pass breakups. I got to ask you about the pass breakup at the very end to Pat Cravens. He had the ball completely in his mitts, and you just, flung it out of there. What was your thinking on that play?
We harp on that drill. We actually call it the Kibbe drill.
Really?
Yeah. It's a drill that we've done all the time. We set up 2 guys. They catch the ball where you just have to shoot the triangle and get it out. And luckily, I was able to get it out and right into Patty's hands.
Your voice was almost non-existent after that game. I tracked you a couple times with the camera after you made those interceptions, and I don't think I've ever seen somebody who has as much pep in the step running along the sideline as you did.
Yeah.
The adrenaline had to be absolutely bouncing for you.
Oh yeah, it was crazy. Well, after one of the interceptions, somebody gave me a chest bump, and I kind of fell.
It was DJ Workington.
Yeah.
I noticed that too.
So instead of getting hit on the head or whatever, I just took off sprinting. had to kind of avoid any more embarrassment.
You hit the turn. I'm like, don't injure the guy after he just made his second interception of the game. That was awesome, though. But going back to the offensive end, it had to have been kind of cool for you guys. Brock Rutter, Nequa alum, Ryan Kuhl, Nequa alum. When they hooked up for that touchdown, did you guys celebrate that at all, or was it just between the 2 of them?
Well, I don't know if you saw, but Ryan Kuhl actually stole my touchdown celebration. He did.
The outstretched arms?
Right. So I had a little bone to pick with him about that. But no, it was great to see. They have a great connection. Really, Brock does with all of our receivers. Dylan Warden, Corey Hartema, me and Kuhl. It's great. It's a lot of fun. So
you've talked about the pieces to the offense, but coming into the season, you knew you guys were going to have a lot of huge playmakers. As training camp kind of wrapped up, and now you're past week 1, do you feel like you've come together as a cohesive group?
Yeah, it's one thing to have the pieces. It's another thing to actually put them in motion and see it actually work as a unit. And so it was great to see. Really, I just really enjoy playing with those guys. They're a lot of fun.
Now, defensively, you got some big guys up front, height-wise, weight-wise, but Amonte Logan might be the biggest of them, and somehow he's only 5'8".
Yeah.
This guy plays bigger than his size. After the game, he said he wants to hug you, but I'm guessing the defense will want to be hugging him because he made some big plays up front.
Oh yeah. There's nobody on our team that has more heart than that kid.
Yeah.
He's just amazing, and he honestly struck fear into the center's eyes. He's more intense than anybody else. He's just a motor, and it's just really nice to have him on our team.
All right, so we're going to do some quick hits now. I'm going to bounce back between the 2 of you. Try not to think too much. You ready? I'll start with Alex. Which teammate has the strangest pump-up music?
Go.
Dylan Warden.
Dylan Warden?
Dylan Warden. What does he listen to? Any idea?
I have no idea.
All right, so here we go. Jeremy, your favorite jersey combination?
Oh, favorite jersey. I'm classic. I like the all-white Stormtroopers.
All right,
That's
the Stormtroopers.
Yeah.
All right. Now, Alex, your go-to meal at Kaufman Dining Hall?
Chicken parm.
Chicken parm. That's a
Every
solid
time.
option.
Yep.
That is a good option. Jeremy, favorite non-major specific class you have taken? Study hall is not an option.
Yeah. Well, I'm taking tennis. Right.
All right.
So,
See you there.
That's awesome. All right.
So I think that might be
You
my
got a double
favorite.
pairing right here. There you go. Last one for you guys. Alex, if you could play any one instrument, if you could be musical, what instrument would you play?
I actually used to play the percussion in high school.
Really?
Yeah.
You're a drummer?
I was, yeah.
All right.
So
Jeremy,
I'll
I'll
get
ask
to
you the same one to finish this off.
Let's go saxophone.
I can see you as a saxophone guy. Guys, good luck on Saturday against Weber International University. We're rooting for you, and have some fun out there.
Awesome.
Thanks for
Will
stopping
do.
by.
Thank you.
We're going to a break. We check in with the women's triathlon team in this week's Cardinal Corner, and later, Clark Tusher stops by. We'll be right back on the Red Zone.
This new mom is struggling to get the skates just right. Now she's holding on for dear life.
You don't have to be perfect to be a perfect parent. Thousands of siblings in foster care will take you just as you are.
This Red Zone segment is sponsored by Belgio's Catering.
Not a lot of people know about it, to be honest, so when you're telling them you're doing triathlon in college, they're like a club? I'm like, no, like for the college.
Hey, you can't fault people for not knowing. The sport is brand new in the college landscape. North Central, one of only 12 schools in the country with a varsity team. At the helm, accomplished triathletes Jenny Garrison, the head coach, and Kurt Woodward, the assistant coach.
We're kind of learning as they learn. This is our first time coaching a college team and their first time being on one.
It's definitely a lot different than like swimming or running by itself because it's everything together. But I really enjoy it. It's a good team.
There's just so much to teach them, so it almost feels like we're starting truly at the very beginning with a lot of them, which is great because we're making huge gains right away.
Grace Miller and Nikki Banis are both freshmen, coming in as part of the first group of triathletes in North Central history. Ashley Eisenmanger is a visually impaired junior, excited about the opportunity to compete in triathlons at the college level.
What this does, what running does, or what triathlon specifically does, is it gives me something that's stable. You know, I could lose all of my vision tomorrow and still swim, bike, and run.
Unfortunately for Ashley, she was forced by an injury to take in the very first race from the sideline. For Grace and Nikki, nerves were present at 6:45 a.m. at the start line. The race presented its challenges: a 750-meter swim at Centennial Beach in downtown Naperville, a 20-kilometer bike, and a 5-kilometer run to finish off the race. But they did it. Nikki in 7th, Grace in 9th. As for those nerves,
Kind of once the gun went off in swimming and you kind of got out of the swimming madness, then they kind of faded away and you just kind of have to focus on the race. It's amazing. We've been training a lot together and just pushing each other. She's been doing cross country for a lot, so she helps me a lot on that, and it's just really cool.
and Coach Garrison was there every step of the way, cheering on and coaching instructions from the side of the course throughout, something her athletes certainly took notice of.
She definitely, when she's yelling at you, you want to listen to her, so it helps a lot though. She's a great coach.
Next up, the next challenge, a race on September 18th in Iowa. Another chance to swim, bike, and run, and show people this is now a college sport, and it's here to stay. It's now time for this week's Play of the Game. With the game in the balance and Robert Morris fast approaching on the scoreboard, Jeremy Niklos jars the ball loose, and Pat Cravens is right there to dine and dash. Cardinal defense feasting on the Eagles with 5 turnovers in the game, but none bigger than this fourth quarter pick 6. Jeremy and Pat, you guys get the Red Zone's Play of the Game.
He knows just about everything there is to know about North Central sports. Clark Tusher is here and joining us on the Red Zone. And Clark, I want to start with the triathlon. This was the first time in the college's history and across the country that there's a collegiate triathlon race. What was the process like trying to put this thing together?
A whole lot of learning because literally everybody is doing it for the first time. So, you know, just in terms of how you communicate things to participating schools and, you know, how to put all your information together in one place so people can access it and getting the registration squared away and literally building it all from the ground up. So it took a lot of work over a period of several months by a lot of people. And you know, even the day of, there was some scrambling to get some stuff figured out. But you know, in the end, it got done. It was a great experience for all the athletes who were involved, and hopefully starts this sport on the path to becoming a full-fledged NCAA sport fairly soon.
what's the level of excitement surrounding it, knowing that this is kind of the trial run and now it might become something bigger, and it's starting right here at North Central?
Well, we welcome the opportunity to be first on something like that because we felt like we had the capacity to be a leader in that respect. And certainly from a competitive standpoint, you'd like to get in on the ground floor and have a chance to be a national contender from the beginning. So I think a lot of people were excited about that opportunity. We had a little bit of that with women's lacrosse when we started that in 2009 at the statewide level, but to do this on a national level certainly was an opportunity we didn't want to pass up.
Now I want to move to men's cross country. They opened up their season at Elmhurst. Pretty strong finish for this group. They're young. They return a lot of people, but they are young. What is the feeling surrounding this team as far as how good they could be?
It's certainly an encouraging start. You have your top two guys both under the previous course record. And then, the gap from the number one to number 7 runner is, somewhere in the neighborhood of 20 to 25 seconds, which is a lot of teams would aspire to do that at any point in the season, let alone during the first race. Yeah. So, certainly a positive start. They're hopeful to just kind of keep guys healthy right now, keep them moving forward, and they'll have a bigger test ahead of them this week at Illinois State.
Zach Plank is back. He's got a couple of All-American statuses underneath his belt. Is he, as you talk to the coaches, kind of that guy that they expect to be near the top of the leaderboard for just about every race this year?
Well, he almost is one of the coaches by now. I mean, he's really stepped forward as a leader in terms of how he relates with his teammates and how he serves as kind of an extension of the coaches when they're not around.
Now, the women's team hasn't started yet. They're off to the races in Kenosha this Saturday. They're minus Megan Costanzo. She left. She was the national qualifier last year. But how does the rest of this team look now that they're coming into 2016?
Still plenty of experience, and sometimes when you have some of that big-time front runner and then they go away, then everybody else feels like they have a chance to step up and get some of the sunshine. So you're going to see probably a much more team-focused, pack running mentality. And they may end up benefiting as a result.
Interesting. It is an interesting dynamic when you have the lead dog leave, and then all of a sudden the team kind of rises to the occasion. Speaking of, the men's team is off to an interesting start. A win, a tie, and a loss in men's soccer. This is a team that struggled in the non-conference schedule last year, but then they really turned it on in the second half of the year. Are they carrying that over to this year?
They got a lot of guys in new positions this year. They really felt like they needed to address the their offensive game plan of attack. And the one game they lost, they were up 3-0 at halftime, which is disappointing to not be able to protect that kind of a lead. But on the plus side, there weren't very many games where we had that kind of offense a year ago. So, and that was also the back end of 2 straight game days on the road. So. There's good and bad out of that to be had, but certainly with as many new guys as they're breaking in and guys in new positions who are returning, to be able to have some of that extra firepower will help them down the road once they get into conference play.
Finally, the women's team, they return a lot of very good players. How do they look right now?
They seem to have responded pretty well to a new coach. He's operating with a defense-first philosophy, and it looks like that's paying off. We have our goalkeeper from last year, Nikki Seaton, who was the first Conference Player of the Week award winner this week as a result of her strong play here in the first week of the season. So, still a lot to be seen, a lot of things they got to figure out, but it seems like they're off to a pretty promising start.
Clark, thanks for stopping by. We look forward to having you on every week, and we'll see what North Central can do in the next week.
Looking forward to it.
That's all the time for this week's edition of the Red Zone. Cardinals host Weber International University this Saturday. NCTV 17 will carry the game live. The pregame at 12:45, kickoff at 1. Thank you for tuning in. I'm Kevin Jackman. We'll be back next week with a brand new show. We'll see you then.